Okay, guys, welcome back to another episode of Inspire You. Joining me today is the incredible Ashley Dean, otherwise known as Mama AD on TikTok. Ashley, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm really, really good. Thanks for joining me on here. It's such a pleasure to have you on. So I'm going to give you a brief introduction, as I always do with all the guests that I have on. So for those watching and listening to this episode, this is Ashley Dean, otherwise known as everyone's best friend. She has approximately 130,000 followers now on TikTok, and her content is absolutely incredible. So from the outset, if you're not already following Ashley, please go and give her a follow now and check out her incredible content. We're going to go into quite a few interesting topics today, which I'm really, really excited to talk to you about. So I think the best way to start this is, as way of introduction as well, just to say, you are one of the kindest people I think I've ever met in my entire life. And that shines through in your content. It really does. And I think as an opening line of, as an opening topic, sort of, I wanted to go into, this idea of kindness and what it means to you. Because you are somebody who preaches a lot of positivity and a lot of kindness through your content, as I've already said. Why is kindness so important to you, and why is making people smile so important to you?
There's just like so much cruelty out there now, like you're scrolling, you see all this negativity and you see all these people that take the time out of their day to be so cruel and so mean to random people they don't know, right? So I made a point, like even a couple months ago, probably like 10 months ago, when everybody was like really down and everybody's stuck in their house and stuff. Like I even had my moment of negativity that I posted on TikTok, and I got like all this, oh my God, are you okay? Like, and I was like, whoa, I'm good. Like, I'm human. Like I'm allowed to not be the girl that's singing and dancing and, like always positive. But I was like, I don't like this negative. I don't want to make anybody else feel negativity or make them feel sad in any sort of way. So if I can bring a smile to somebody's face, no matter what they're going to, that's kind of my goal,
So what was it that inspired you to make content in the first place? So how did you get onto TikTok? Tell me a little bit about the journey that led you there.
Yeah, February of 2020, I got on there just to see what it was about. And I did I think Selena Gomez, Rare was out, and I was like, oh, okay. So you just kind of like, what do? You just lip sync to music? Like what? I did not understand it at that point. So there's like one of my first videos is like no sound with me just holding my kid. And I'm like, okay. And then other ones me lip singing to that. And I'm like, all right. So I had to like watch it a bit more. And then I found like the dance challenges. And then there's a couple couples challenges on there that my husband did with me, which he won't do anymore. He doesn't like social media.
He's not big on TikTok then.
No, he's like, I just don't want to. Okay. He has TikTok and he'll scroll through TikTok. And it's so funny because like my video will pop up and I'll like be watching him watch videos. And it's weird stuff. It's like Elon Musk engineering space stuff, And so then my video will pop up there because he follows me. And I'm like, did you just not watch my video all the way through and double tap it and like it? I'm like yelling at him.
Show me some support.
I'm like, hello, do you know how this works? But yeah, I just started like finding all the trends and all the fun stuff. And I like to do the lip syncing, the singing, the duetting. I did a lot of friend stuff there for a little while. It's just fun.
So, and content creation, I think a lot of people that I've interviewed up until now, I've kind of zoned in on, the elements that they do. And I've had people talk about mental health, and I've had people talk about quite serious topics, but your content is strictly fun. Yeah. Like you're not necessarily trying to convey messages, but you're there to make people smile and make people feel good. And
yeah, I just find something I want to do and I do it. And all the time people are like, why don't you do the mom content? I'm like, yo, I'm a mom 99% of my day. This is like my one little escape where I can do what, and I put my kids in them sometimes. Like I just showed you one I did with Cam this morning, but it's I don't want to do like, there's Kinneret and there's Savage, like there's people that have their niche, and I'm like, I don't want to channel myself into one thing.
And that's fair. I think as long as you're making content that is fun and consistent with who you are, I think that's the whole point of enjoying yourself on the app. I do think that there are a lot of people who do take it very seriously in the content they create, but it's good to have people who also just are on there just to have fun,
Mhm.
And you've amassed quite a big following though. As I said before, you've amassed almost 130,000 followers through your content, and I think that just resonates with how genuine and upbeat you are as a person. Your energy and your aura just draws people in. There's something about your content that just, I mean, whenever it comes up on my For You page, or when, you're actually one of the people that I do seek out on a regular basis. If I don't see you on my For You page, then I
Mhm.
do actively go and search for you, because I'm like, I wonder what Ashley's posted today. Because it always puts a smile on my face. And I know it puts a smile on a lot of our friends' faces as well when they're having a bad day.
Mhm.
So, I'm very grateful to have connected with
Thank
you on
you. Like that's kind of what I'm here to do, just have fun. And I've made some wonderful friends, including you, on the app. So I'm just
Thank
so
you.
grateful. Like, I try not to let the negative comments affect me. I've had people say stuff about my weight and all this other stuff, and I kind of just go through and delete them. I'm not one to like respond to a negative comment, if that makes sense. Like, why?
Non-reactionary kind of.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely fair. Everyone has their own way of dealing with that sort of thing.
Hmm.
Some people prefer not to give it that energy. Um, but again, I think with creating content in general, and trying to be that optimistic, are you naturally that optimistic off of the app as well? Is And I don't mean this in a bad way, but is it the Ashley that we're seeing on a day-to-day basis, the Ashley on TikTok, or are you like the rest of us? You must have your bad days as well. You must have your off days.
Yeah, yeah, I have my bad days. You can ask Tom and Susanna because I talk to them on a
I,
daily basis. Like, I'll call if the kids are getting on my damn nerves. I'll just call them up and be like, "You guys, like, I'm gonna freaking throw something at a wall." Like,
yeah,
as a mom, like we always have that build up of like, I can't, I need a minute. Like I mean, you saw me on live. You heard them screaming that one time when I jumped on. Who were you on with? I can't remember.
I think I was on with Suzanne. I think.
Yeah, maybe. But I like the kid, he was just screaming upstairs for no reason. I'm just like, this is my life. Like, this is what happened.
This is who I am.
Yeah. But I mean, normally I try to, joke around and maintain a positive attitude on a daily basis. I was in a really negative headspace for a while. I did go to therapy for like 6 months when COVID happened, like probably right before I quit it in April of 2021, like right before we went to Vegas for the TikTok meetup.
Okay.
So I was like, if I don't get on this plane, I don't think I'll ever get on a plane again. Like, it
Yeah.
consumed me. Like, I was homeschooling a kid for
Yeah.
a year,
Hmm.
like doing the internet based schooling. And I was like, this is totally like taking a toll on my personality. I'm very outgoing. I'm very much a people person, but like I'd be scared to go hang out with my neighbors. Just that fear kind of overwhelmed me
Yeah.
and made me like almost a hermit. Like, thank God for the app because like I had people to talk to on a daily basis.
Do you
So
do you feel that being on TikTok has changed you as a person,
yeah.
in kind of the sense of it's given you more confidence, it's made you more outgoing?
Mhm.
Who were you before the app? Like, how would you describe your journey through the app? Who were you before, and how was being on the app and making content, and seeing the following, how has that increased your life? How has it benefited your life, would you say?
It's kind of helped me go on this journey of self-love and like remembering who I am outside of being a wife and being a mom. And like, oh wait, yeah, I have passions too. Like
Mhm.
singing, I would never be confident enough to like sing and put it on a platform before TikTok. But I had people encouraging me like, hey, you have a good voice, like just go for it. And so that's probably the first platform that I ever posted something with singing. So that's helped a lot.
And in terms of maintaining your positive outlook on a day-to-day basis, do you have any tips or tricks? Is there anything particular you do in your day-to-day life when you're having an off day? Are there particular things that you do to try and increase your level of happiness?
I can just tell you like kind of how my day goes.
Okay.
So I
That's
wake
okay.
up every morning at like 6 a.m. I have a 4-year-old who is my alarm clock. My husband's up at like 4:45 normally, and he goes to the gym.
Right.
Yeah, he's a beast. I'm like, "Ah, I can never do that. I need my sleep." You know, women need more sleep than men in general.
By the way, I love your husband's relationship. The way it translates into content sometimes, and I know you say that he doesn't make that much of an appearance, but I've seen some videos that you've made about him, and
Yeah.
I love the comedy element that you bring sometimes to your guys' relationship. It's really really refreshing to see.
Yeah, it's more so me just reminding people that I'm married. I'm like,
which,
okay,
which we'll talk
remember,
about a little bit later. Yeah, we'll talk
don't
about.
be a creep. As we always say, don't be weird. But yeah, I get up, I take the one to school, come back, hang out, drink coffee, make sure, try to get, if not a workout in, a stretch in, which really helps.
Mhm.
And I am that mom who I take a shower and I put on my makeup and I make myself feel good about myself. I could not go anywhere, but I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna do my makeup every day and you know just be productive. I think the goal is just to like make yourself feel confident for you is what I try to do and not anybody else, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely makes sense. I think that's the first step of any kind of self-love journey, is recognizing that you're doing it for yourself. You're not doing it for
Mhm.
other people. And
Right.
you have been a big force as well on the app in terms of just trying to empower people and just trying to make people feel good about who they are. And I know
Mhm.
that you've collaborated with a lot of different creators, and I can't remember. There's a videographer that you've been working with recently. Is it Dele?
Daily rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some of the content that you guys have done together has been absolutely incredible. I mean, the shots and the the way it's all put together is incredible. But the way it translates through the screen,
Mm.
there's just an air of confidence about your content and about the way you present yourself. And I think that's so important. And I wanted to talk to you, and one of the reasons I've been so excited to talk to you in particular is because a lot of what I get from your content is female empowerment. You seem to be very big on empowering other females to step into their own power and recognize their own value, their own worth, and just to accept themselves for who they are. Is that
Mhm.
a journey that you went on personally, or is that just something that you feel is important to share
Yeah.
with other women?
It's been a long journey for me in relationships with women. I've always been like, let's say, and I know a bunch of people can relate to this too. If you have a group of 3 women,
Mhm.
usually there's always one that's outcast, right?
Right.
For some reason, be it jealousy, being it the way you look, being it just your personality doesn't mesh well. So, like in college, I had 2 roommates gang up on me. Then I had to move out to another. And like when I was 5 years old, I remember hiding behind a couch and listening to my friends talk like crap about me at 5 years old. And then I popped up and I was like, I've been here the whole time. I heard what you said. And then they locked me in the room. It would not let me out. 5 years old.
Awful.
And so like our moms had to get involved. And it was just like from then I've been like, ooh, I don't trust women. Like, why is there always just this like bickering and talking behind each other's backs? So just the relationships I've developed later in life, especially since like having kids, you just realize stuff's petty and to kind of choose your friends the right way.
And what do you think it is about, um, like today's society obviously teaches us that women do need to be more empowered,
Mhm.
but we're still living, I think, in an age right now where a lot of women are struggling with that in particular. Why do you think that is? Why do you think there are not more women out there who
Um,
are at that point already where they should know who they are, but they don't?
Suzanne and I talk about this a lot, like, because we'll get like negative comments about, oh, doing TikToks and not cleaning your house and blah blah. We're like, okay, listen, you don't know the dynamic of our relationship. You don't know what conversations we have with our spouses. You don't know the roles we chose to play. Like I worked forever. I ran a restaurant when my husband didn't have a job. and supported us before we got married.
Yeah.
I was in the mortgage industry. I ran a food and beverage establishment in New Orleans. Like I've done the working thing. I've done the working mom thing. Like I had a newborn and I went back to work, but it wasn't working for the dynamic of our family. So it's not like, oh, women are stepping down and, you know, the husband is working, so we owe something to them. It's what dynamic works for your family. So you can be empowered, just have the conversation and make that choice yourself, you know? And I feel like when I want to go back to work, I can go back to work. But if I don't want to, he empowers me to make whatever decision I want to. So I think it's more about communication and just like saying what you want to do, you know, not even for people in relationships, but just like when I was in the food and beverage industry in New Orleans, I had a job and I was 24 years old and I had this opportunity to be a food and beverage assistant manager. So I took it. I quit my job at Fridays. Like I was bartending at Fridays, making crap. Like I ended up walking out one night because they put me in the bar with like 9 tables and they're like, oh, you can handle it. You have a major in this, like you got it. And I'm like, no, I don't got it. Like I am like, when I give 110%, I give it. If I can't give 110% and people take advantage of me, I'm like, whoa, step back, you know? And so that's the first job I ever walked out on, was TGI Fridays on the West Bank of New Orleans.
Right.
And so I had this opportunity and I got this job. Well, my boss ended up quitting 3 months later and going to another franchise. There were franchise hotels. And so then my HR person hired one of her friends to take his position. Well, this guy did not know what he was doing. And he had a drinking problem and he would come in late. So I picked up all the slack and I was doing everything. So at one point in my life, I had to sit a 45-year-old man down at 24 years old and be like, I'm not going to do your job for you. So you either step down or we're going down together. Like it is what it is. So I think I had to learn from a young age to like stand up for myself. And so finally I went to my boss, who was a woman, my general manager, and I was like, look, can you just give me the opportunity? Like, give me like a 90-day probationary period. Let me try to do this job that I'm already doing. And so she did, and I freaking killed it. I made them profitable when they weren't profitable. But, you know, then I got pregnant and I had Braxton Hicks at like 5 months. So I ended up having to quit because I was working like 16-hour days. So,
wow.
But then my guy that I had as my assistant was my GM's son's best friend. And when I left, he ended up getting automatically paid more than me.
Really?
So so I burned some bridges when I found out about that, because I was like, whoa, like, you know. So I had a conversation. I burned a couple bridges, but I was like, look, this isn't cool. Like I asked for a raise a couple times and didn't get it. And so that kind of made me realize, and I worked with all men, like all chefs. So it was a little overwhelming. And I was 24. People I worked for were older than me, so I didn't have the respect. You know, it's just.
I think by the sounds of it, having that experience at a young age made you very empowered. It made you.
I'm so grateful for it. Yeah.
And you know, I think women in general, and this isn't just women, men have this as well. I think people in general go through experiences which make them feel empowered. They reach turning points in their life which they kind of go, oh, do you know what? I need to be more empowered now. I need to stand up for myself more. I need to feel more liberated and feel more, you know, like I'm validating myself and standing up for myself more. And I think when you reach those milestones in your life, and whatever the catalyst is for them, you will find yourself coming out stronger the other end. I mean, it seems to have benefited you in a great way.
Yeah, that was like a turning point for me, because it's like, oh, I don't think I can do this. Like like this, everything's falling on me. And then I did it, and then I did the next thing, and then I did the next thing. Like it was just, I kept blowing my mind as I was succeeding further and further. So it's like, if you put your mind and you take the next step and you succeed, like keep on going, you know.
What do you think about female role models in like, you know, mainstream media? A lot of young women, again touching on female empowerment here, a lot of young women tend to idolize musicians and celebrities, as a way of kind of gaining that empowerment. Do you
Mhm.
think that's a healthy way of trying to find empowerment, or do you think that we should be looking for it more from ourselves?
I would say never try to be someone else and that's their dream. We're not all trying to be Beyonce. We know we can't be Beyonce, right? I
Yeah.
think she has a good message as far as like women and empowerment and finding your voice. But
Mhm.
like I feel like there's so much pressure on young girls nowadays to look a certain way and be a certain way and act a certain way. And like the mean, like it's cool to be mean now, like that just blows my mind. Like,
Yeah. And I've never understood that. I've always, and again, rounding back to the first topic that we kind of touched upon, this idea of kindness, I think one of the reasons that people find it so difficult to be kind nowadays is because I was listening to, I think it's Gary McVee, one of the motivational speakers the other day, and he was talking about this idea of negativity versus positivity. He said
mhm,
negativity is very loud, whereas positivity is very quiet. And the
right.
reason positivity is very quiet, he says, is because of the fact that it has an internal power to defend itself against negativity. So you don't hear about positivity as much as you do about negativity.
Mhm,
Negativity, whenever you see troll comments, and again, touching on content creation, you post a video and somebody comes at you in the comment section, um, for various things, whether because you're a mom on TikTok, or whether it's because you're a certain age, or whether it's the way you look, or that you
right.
shouldn't be doing this type of content. I think the reason that there is a lot of attention drawn to negativity nowadays, for me, is because of the fact that it's louder and it gets more of a voice. And I
Yeah,
don't think that positivity gets enough attention
I
nowadays.
agree. I totally agree. It's like you're saying, like if you respond to negativity with negativity,
Yeah.
you're gonna pushing that negative energy. But if you just cut it at its source and flip it into something positive, then it stops with you.
One of the things I like to do, and I talked about this with a guest last week, is turning a negative comment into a joke. You know,
Yeah.
trying to turn into, and I know you do this a lot with
I've
people.
seen you do that. It's awesome.
Yeah, and I've seen you do it on lives as well, and we'll touch on the lives in a minute.
Oh yeah.
But I find it quite humorous to kind of take a negative comment and put a comedic spin on it, just as a way of kind of deflecting the energy away, but also showing that I'm unfazed by it. Because the truth of the matter is, I know who I am, and I struggled for many years trying to figure out who I was, and getting sucked into various dynamics and various, peer pressures and all the rest of it, as we all do.
Yeah.
And I think that's very prevalent when you're younger as well, trying to figure out who
Mhm.
you are. But I think the older you get and the more experiences you go through, the more you recognize your strengths and how to deal with those toxic and negative situations. And again, you do it very well in your lives because you get a lot of, and again, we've touched on this, you're married and you
Mhm.
put it in your bio on TikTok and you like to remind people, on a frequent basis through your content because
Yeah.
apparently you have to as as an attractive woman. But why do you think there are a lot of men out there who just aren't getting the message and they feel the need to come into lives and leave comments like that?
Yeah. I think everybody thinks relationships are so easily disposable nowadays. It's like,
Mhm.
oh, she says she's serious, but then here she is showing her midsection on TikTok and dancing and whatever. So it's like I even worry sometimes. Like I used to post a couple bathing suit things, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna step away from that. Like I'm not here for that type of attention. So I don't know if you've noticed, but I haven't posted like I stopped like midsummer. I was like, okay, like me and Suzanne talked about that. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna focus more on the fun stuff and what I like to do. And but it's kind of sad because you're like, I bust my butt to look a certain way. I've had 2 kids. Of course, you want to show the world, like, hey,
Yeah,
check it out.
I'm
Look
looking
what I
at
did.
myself. Yeah, exactly.
And
And
it's
and,
not. I
and
mean,
here's,
who doesn't like the compliments? Who's not on TikTok to get a little bit of attention and reassurance? We all are. But I out like the Marilyn Monroe one I did where she's talking, she's like, I don't know, they just asked me to marry him. I don't know why. Like that's kind of one that I turned in from my lives. But I, I just take it with a grain of salt. Like I take it as a compliment and just move on.
I mean, your moderators in general in your lives have very, very,
they,
you know,
they were
quick reflexes in terms of dealing with guys who come in
yeah.
and are inappropriate. And, you know, I think it's, again, it's a testament to the friendship group that, you know, we've made on the app, you know, in terms of supporting each other and looking out for each other in that way. But I think, I do think it's still a shame that it happens, you know, again, as frequently as it does. Because, again, touching on what you said before, nobody takes into consideration the nature of your relationship with your husband, and that your husband is incredibly supportive of what you do.
Incredibly confident. Yeah.
Yeah, he's unfazed by it because you guys have a very strong foundation in terms of your relationship and your marriage.
And I think women, it's important, boundaries, like
Mhm.
with male friends. Like, because a lot of people are like, why do you need guy friends if you're a married woman? Like, you don't need to be talking to guys. But I make a very stern point on setting boundaries. Like, you can be my friend. Anything said that's inappropriate or any type of thing that makes me feel uncomfortable, I'm gonna have a conversation with you about it. If it doesn't change, I'm cutting you out, you know?
Yeah.
It's disrespectful to my husband. So
And I think that's perfectly fair. And, you know, the idea of setting boundaries in general, I think, is something that, you know, so there are people out there who struggle with knowing what a boundary is or understanding, you know, why it's necessary in certain situations. And I think that when you recognize that those boundaries are important when you're in it, and again, whether you're in a relationship or not, it's your comfort, you know, and whether it applies to relationships, whether it applies to friendships, whether it applies to, you know, co-workers, whatever the case may be, if something makes you feel uncomfortable and you have to set that boundary in place, then other people need to respect, okay, this is that person's comfort level, I'm now not going to push past that,
right,
because
exactly.
I don't want to make that person feel, you know, in any way, shape or form, you know, uncomfortable, or make them feel like they're being disrespected. And yeah, I think it's all based in respect, really. So
Mhm. It's a
um
huge, huge respect thing. And I am lucky to have found some awesome guy friends like Tom, Deli, you know, people that are just like here to make content and do fun stuff. And, you know, if we were all in a big group setting, it would be awesome, you know?
I wanted to ask a little bit, and you can stop me if this is too personal, but I did want to ask just a little bit about the relationship with you and your husband. How did you
Mhm.
guys meet? Because you guys have had a very you guys have had a very strong and very healthy marriage from, you know, what I've seen and from what I've observed. You guys are very respectful of each other, supportive of each other. Tell me that story. How did you guys meet?
So we met at college at East Carolina University.
Okay.
We actually met before that, and I talked about this when I had my podcast too.
Okay.
We met on AOL Instant Messenger,
Oh
like
wow.
when we were 15. When we were 15. My
I
best friend
remember that.
moved. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
AOL Instant Messenger. My best friend moved where he lived. And he was like, "Hey, do you have any cute friends?" She's like, "I do, but she's back in Wilmington, where I grew up." And so AOL Instant messaged me. We talked for a little bit, you know, moved on with our lives. And then he ended up coming to ECU after I had already been there 2 years. And he messaged me, but I was dating somebody like when he first got there. He's like, "Hey, do you remember me?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, but you know, I have a boyfriend, blah, blah, blah." Then I broke up with that guy and we lived in the same complex. And he was in the hot tub with one of his friends, and I went with one of my friends. And he was like, "Hey, do you remember me?" And I'm like,
Kind
"No."
of.
I was like, "How do you know my name?" And then it clicked because he's like, "Donovan, I played hockey." And he's the only guy I've ever met that played hockey
Right.
because we're in the South. A lot of people don't play hockey down here. Um, and so I dated like a bunch of just jerks, you know, like 17 to 20 was a rough patch of me just picking the wrong guy
Mhm.
after the wrong guy. And so he goes to walk away and he doesn't get my number. And I'm like, whoa, like, "Hey, can I have your number?"
Hi.
So I asked him for his number. I got his number. And then for the first date, he cooked me pasta and took me ice skating because he played hockey and I'd never been ice skating. And then the rest is just history. We've had our rough patches.
Mhm.
Like he worked for the Marshalls, and then it was when they did a big hire. So he ended up getting cut. He's like, I can't marry you without a job. So then he joined the Coast Guard, that took us to Louisiana, which I'm glad because I experienced everything I did there. But then we were like, we don't like military life. Like, we gotta figure something out. Like, I'm not gonna end up in Anchorage, Alaska. I'm just telling, like, if you get put in Anchorage, Alaska, I'm not going, dude. Like,
I'm staying down south where
you're
it's
going like a
where
damn
the
self,
weather's good.
right?
Yeah.
Because I had friends that were in Kodiak and she was pregnant and ended up having to fly on a plane to the NICU. And I'm like, no, this terrifies me.
Yeah.
So he got out, and then my brother is in logistics and he found a position that was open in Charlotte where my parents live. And he's like, let me just try logistics.
Mm-hmm.
The dude, I'm so proud of him. He has killed it. He is now the director of operations for a logistics company. Yeah.
Incredible.
So it's just like, and it's a Christian company, like they're awesome, but he's just worked his butt off, to provide for his family and his kids and for me. And it's just so admirable. But yeah, I mean, we just kind of keep open communication. I'm very open with my communication. So if I'm feeling something, I try not to let it linger. Like, I'll hold some petty stuff, just stupid marital crap that gets in the way, like, I have to unload the dishwasher all the time. You never, like,
it's the kind of stuff you'll be over in like 10 minutes.
Like roommate stuff, just petty little stuff. And I'm like, just let it go. But when it comes down to like having serious conversations about stuff, I think we communicate pretty well, but we bicker too. I mean, it's anybody you live with consistently, it's gonna happen. But
yeah. But yeah, happily married, 2 children, and you guys seem to have a very stable, very happy life. And again, I love moving, touching on it again. There was one video that you did. I think was he wearing an afro, like a wig? Oh my lord! Right. So if people aren't following Ashley already, go check out her page and find this video.
His Halloween. He's bald.
Tell us about this video.
Yeah, he doesn't have hair. And so it's that one that's like that sound from Tell Me Something You Want to Ride.
Oh yeah.
And I turn it around and he's like 70 strutting in these alligator shoes and this afro. And I'm just incredible. You can't hear me, but I'm like dying laughing.
It was incredible. It was because I wasn't expecting it at all, and then obviously the transition happens. You just see him with it, and I was like, I'm on the floor.
Walks out the door.
I'm just on the floor. I'm completely dead. So another big passion of yours is music, as we both know, because I've collaborated with you on some harmony duets, and Voice of a Nightingale, by the way, guys. Anyone who's listening and watching this, Ashley really does have an incredible voice. She has an incredible talent, and I know that you sing a lot on your lives. Part of your content is related. You started a series on TikTok related to coffee. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you take Disney stuff. You explain it to people.
Yeah, Tom actually helped me write some of the lyrics. Like, it was just a fun thing to do during the day. We'd be like, okay, what rhymes with this and what goes here? But we took Disney songs and we rewrote the lyrics like it was coffee. Talking about coffee.
And they're brilliant. Some of them are absolutely hilarious, and they're just. But again, yeah.
Look at this stuff, isn't it neat? Can't start my day till my coffee's complete.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But what is it? How did you first get into music? So do your family have a musical background, or?
So I've always been, if you can see my background, it's like all New York.
Yeah.
I've always been obsessed with Broadway.
Okay.
So yeah, I remember my mom, like 2 CDs or 2 cassettes she had in the van all times were Shania Twain and Phantom of the Opera.
Okay. Right.
Like, my whole wedding was themed after Phantom of the Opera.
Was it actually?
I had the red roses with the black ribbon with like the little gem in between. Yeah. But I think that's where it started. And then in high school, I was in honors chorus. So we got to travel. We actually went to New York. We sang in the church across from where the Twin Towers fell. We sang like a 60-page Latin requiem in there, and it was just
Wow.
magical. So I've
Do you,
just always loved it. I danced when I was little. I ended up quitting that, but we did Mamma Mia, we did Hairspray, and it's like theater, but it was just honors. It was singing.
do you think music is something that you'd like to pursue more in the future as well?
Not professionally.
Okay.
It's such a competitive thing, and like, as well as people say I can sing, I can't belt. So
Okay.
I'm like more of a soft, somewhere over the rainbow, Disney tunes. I could never be on Broadway because I don't have that power in my voice. So no, yeah, I don't want to be famous for singing. I would never ever pursue it, probably.
Famous on TikTok. That's enough.
Yeah, it's just something I like to do. I don't want there to be any pressure. I don't want, it's just, that's a lot of work.
I mean, we're all very grateful for your singing content as it is. And like I said, the goofy side of this is another side I love about you. You're not just serious. You do a lot of acting videos and audios, and you do some sort of, I don't want to call it cosplay, but you do get dressed up a lot for a lot of your videos as well. But the more recent stuff that I've seen of you, you are very goofy. You are very playful, and there was one video that you posted the other day, which I believe you sent me and a couple of our other friends, but like, I'm not like this all the time. This is actually who I am day to day, and I love that.
I'm very diverse. I think I can put on the smolder, if I need to be like, hey, what's up? But
I can't pull off the smolder.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want to tunnel myself into like one thing. I'm like, this is who I am. I can randomly have a spurt of hysterical laughter,
Would you say you're quite a goofy mother as well, like with your children and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, like the other day, did I send you videos of us just sliding across the floor dancing to music?
I don't think you sent me that one.
Yeah, so we were scrolling through TikTok and I found one of Matt Merrill's videos where he's always sliding.
Oh yeah.
Cam saw it. He's like, can we do that? I'm like, heck yeah, we can do that. So we like blasted Alexa. What song is he really into right now?
I don't know how Matt does those, by the way, because somebody commented on one of his videos, and I've seen quite a few of those comments, just to digress a minute. And people are always asking him questions like, what do you wax your floors with?
I know, because I fell, or no, I jumped over Connor because he like got my way, and I like rolled my ankle, and I was like, okay, I think I'm done. And then like you have to stiffen your hips so much. Like my hip was sore the next day from like tightening my legs to like stiffen. And I was like,
yeah,
dang, like this takes some true talent. But we were just sliding for like an hour and just jamming out. Like we'll dance around the living room and just sing.
That's like me. I do that, if I'm cooking or if I'm just coming. I think one of the first videos I ever did on TikTok was me coming down the stairs, and I think I've talked about this before, coming down the stairs and sliding into The Greatest Showman. And
that's what we jam out to all the time.
Yeah, and people asked me about it, not that long ago. They were like, is this actually who you are? Or are you just playing a part on TikTok? I'm like, no, this is who I am. Like I regularly come down the stairs and I've got my phone in my dressing gown pocket, blaring music, and I'm just like,
yeah, same. I always have my headphones on, walking around. Like now it's Christmas music. I got Pentatonics on loop. I'm just jamming out. Camden's like, can you stop singing? I'm like, never.
Are your kids quite outgoing as well? Then in like, do they take after you in that sense? Or?
Yeah, my oldest is very outgoing. Like he'll talk to a wall. The younger one is kind of clingy.
I'm not sure if that's a good thing or not.
I know, I'm like stranger danger, man. Like just calm down. My little one's a little more reserved, but I mean, he has neither one of them have a filter really. They're just like, hi, be my best friend. But the little one's so mommy obsessed still because he hasn't been in school or anything since he was itty bitty. So he's just all about me. which I kind of like. But then at moments, I'm like, I need some freedom.
That's fair. I mean, that's fair. So I do have a few questions, like a couple of Q&As that I wanted to ask you that I was just
Yeah.
kind of curious about. What would you say happiness is to you? Because you seem like a very bubbly, outgoing person. So if someone came up to you and said, describe happiness to me.
I would say happiness is a mindset. It's
I like that.
what you make what you make of it, right?
Mhm.
So it's such a large definition for everybody. Like for some people, money makes you happy. For some people, just having your health makes you happy because you might have been sick, really sick at one time, So I think happiness is just having a positive outlook on life and choosing that route.
Yeah.
So it's not like one thing that makes me happy. There's a bunch of stuff that makes me happy.
Because I think a lot of people, when they come onto TikTok and they start following, and I've had this happen to me quite a lot with doing mental health content. People always come to me and they're looking for the secret to happiness. They're
Mhm.
looking for the idea of, how do I get to that point? And
Yeah.
I feel like I'm constantly, repeating the same kind of message that you've just said, that it's not a destination, it's an emotion,
Right.
and emotions change,
Yeah.
day to day. There's days you're going to be happy, there's days you're not going to be happy. But from what I've seen, like, everybody has their own circumstances, and we all have, people who are different points in their life, and people who have different circumstances. And I think generally some of the happiest people I know are actually people who have less than others, but they choose to focus on the good things in their life. And because they choose to do that, they are more happy. I know people who have a lot more materialistically than others do, but they're not happy. And
Right.
it's an interesting journey to me to see that people who are internally happy themselves are the ones who choose to focus their time and their energy on appreciating what they do have rather than what they don't have.
It's almost like living in a state of content and not a state of want, right?
Absolutely.
Being
Def-
content with what you have and being happy and not wanting all the time. So I feel that that's when you kind of lose the happiness, is you're like, oh, they have this and some people say need this to be happy, but
yeah.
yeah, I think it's definitely being in that content state.
So next question, I guess, and this is always an interesting one to ask. I don't ask this of a lot of people, but if you were to go back in time and you were to meet the 15-year-old version of yourself,
Yeah.
what would you say to that, to
Do
15?
I have to go?
I'm curious, because where you are now in life, where you are now
um, oh man.
and where you were at 15.
Know your worth, I guess. And, at 15, I feel like every girl is boy crazy. I know I was. So I think probably telling myself to know my worth more and not what guys thought of me.
Good answer.
Or even girls, like how mean girls were to me. I would say it's not about what they think of you, it's about what you think of yourself, which is what I'm trying to preach to these. What Elena, you got Sarah Underwood, who's 40 and freaking rocks a bikini on TikTok too. She's like, I don't care what you say about me. Like, I'm gonna do what I want to do.
Her videos give
And I
me
love
life as well. She's incredible. Her
She's
videos.
awesome. And so I have like that's the kind of women I try to surround myself with now. Women that aren't petty and jealous and bring other women down. It's lifting each other up and being each other's hype woman. So
Yeah, and I think whether you're male or female, I think the whole point is to hype each other up, to hype
Mhm.
your friends up, to support each other. That's why we're on the app. And I think sometimes we stray to different sides of TikTok, and we get consumed in sometimes the negativity.
How did we get here? How
How
did we get here?
I want to get back on fun TikTok. Can we just,
Totally.
it's when your For You page starts coming up with stuff like that you're like, oh, really? Okay, how? Like, how do I get back?
Not interested.
Interesting,
Show
yeah.
us.
And everything else after that, no, not interested either.
Yeah.
Like, just
Sometimes I'll just keep swiping for a minute just to like clear out. I'm like, none of this.
yeah, definitely.
Like my For You page is all like hot girls and puppies and babies and it's so random. It's so all over the place.
I couldn't even tell you what mine is at the moment. I think mine is mostly acting stuff at the moment, and comedic kind of really random stuff that people are duetting, and I don't know, my For You page is all over the place at the moment in terms of, you know, that.
Yeah, and then I'm like trying to find content to do, and I'm like, I think I'm lost. I gotta get back to where I was.
So again, that was going to be the next point. When it comes to making your content, what is it that inspires you to make the videos that you make? Do you look for random sounds? Do you see what other people are doing? When you're making these videos, where is that coming from?
Oh gosh, well, I always like come across the dances, and then like thinking, can I do this dance? You know, because like some of them are really hard, and so I'll literally watch a dance and I'll be like, nope, I ain't got time to learn that one, you know. And so I'll pick one I can do, and then, you know, with me it's so sporadic when I can do them, because it's got to be during his nap time, because I got a household to maintain, and you know, he'll get real upset if I'm scrolling for too long or on my phone for too long. So I try to make a conscious effort to, like, if he has a 2-hour nap in one day, I'm like knocking him out and then posting them. So everybody's like, why do you have the same outfit on? I gotta do them all at once, you know.
Knock out like half a dozen of them all in one go.
Right. Like I'm not
changes and everything else, and
right. And I'm not doing them when my husband's home. Like that's his time, you know. So 6 o'clock at night he walks through the door, I'm trying to put my phone down or just scrolling at least when I have free time. But yeah, it's just whatever speaks to me. Like I just did another Friends duet with Mariah.
Okay. Yeah.
I have some saved. Tom's just done a lot of content that I want to duet, so I've saved a couple of his. Like Deli's really good at transitions, so I'll go try to find some transition sounds on his. Like I love the transitions. Like I love outfits and stuff, and I don't get to go anywhere, right? So I'm like, ooh, this is an opportunity. I can dress up and wear a cute outfit and do a transition, you know?
Sure. So, yeah,
just whatever kind of speaks to me, and then I have to be in the mood to film it. Obviously, you ever feel that?
All
like you
the
say
time.
something, yeah, and you're like, oh, I'm not in the mood to do this.
Yeah, I'm just like, especially if it's something really kind of, it takes a lot out of you. Like the acting ones for me, those are the ones where I really have to be like, okay, I'm in the mood to do this now.
Got to get it perfect. You're like OCD like me. Like with the dancing, when I tell you, I kid you not, I probably have like 10 drafts of one dance. And then I'm going back through them like, which one do I want to put? So I'm like sweating by the end of this because it's got to be perfect.
So I don't do a lot of dance videos. I get teased a lot for having really horrible dad dancing. But that's another, you know, I've steered into that skill a long time ago, and I'm just like, anyway. But the dance videos, I can tell you, I don't know how people like Chelsea Henshin and all these other big critics, I don't know how they get away with, and Amy Jane's another good one. They practice for hours, these dance routines. I don't have the time or the energy or the focus to be able to give it.
And then her and Chelsea together, like they are in sync. I'm like watching them, I'm like, oh yeah, I don't know if I could do that with somebody.
No, I literally I can't. I've tried. I'm like you know, I'll give it half a dozen goes and then I'll be like, right, okay, I'm just going to pick the best of the worst now.
Yeah, I'm done.
Sweating, and I'm like, I can't anymore.
It's the same with the acting ones. Like I remember that holiday one I did with Peter. Like I did so many of them. I'm like, you know what? Just stop critiquing yourself so much. Like if there's one tiny little thing off, I'm like, ooh, I got to redo it, you know, but it's like not noticeable to anybody else.
Sure. Yeah.
But we're so inside our heads sometimes.
I mean, so again, the next question that I had, I guess, was we touched a little bit about the negativity aspect already, you know, in dealing with the lives and stuff. If somebody was to come to you and ask you for advice in terms of dealing with that aspect of negativity, what advice would you offer them?
I would say it's all about how you respond to it.
Okay.
You know, because like that reflects on you, is how you respond to it. So people can come at you and say hateful things all day. It's how you internalize it and what you choose to put back out there. So I would just say, think about it. Don't react rashly. Like take a minute, step back and think, you know, like, is this their own insecurities or is this mine?
Yeah.
and then choose not to respond or respond in a positive light.
Because I don't know if you've had this as well, but you sometimes get people who who follow you through the app, and then they'll leave a nice comment and say, I really like your content, etc. And they're like, I'm thinking of making videos, but
Mhm.
I'm too scared, I'm too shy, to go about doing it for the first time.
Yeah.
And I think helping guide people into making. I mean, for me personally, and you've already said that it's helped you massively. Creating content has been a whirlwind of a journey for me in terms of helping me come out of my shell and
Mhm.
recognize hidden strengths about myself that I didn't recognize, similar to you. And I think that it's something that I preach a lot. People should be making videos, or at least trying their hand at it, to try and gain that level of confidence or self-esteem or self-worth, because ultimately we're all trying to grow.
Mhm.
And I don't mean this in the sense of a follower count, but we're trying to grow as people.
Yeah.
We're trying to develop ourselves and learn the self-respect and the self-love that you and I both have talked about, for ourselves, because I think that it's such an important thing in today's society, with mental health struggles and the negativity and the criticism that you get from day-to-day life, that I think apps like this can go a long way into helping somebody's self-confidence, providing
Mhm.
that it's used the correct way.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, everybody's terrified of judgment, right? But I feel like there is more positivity on my page than there is negativity, right? So I'm gonna take that and roll with it because it's helped me find people that I appreciate, that I relate to, that support me, so it's worth it. And so I would definitely tell somebody, just go for it and put yourself out there, like be vulnerable and see what happens.
Do you think that there is a correlation? I personally think there's a correlation between how you are as a person. I believe in this whole idea of your vibe attracting your tribe, and we've talked
Mhm.
about a number of creators already today. And I think that if you are naturally a vibe yourself, you will naturally start to attract the right people into your life who are more aligned with you. Do you find that that is something with the friendships that you've made on this app? Those
Yeah.
people have kind of gravitated towards you as a result of you being yourself.
Yeah, and I tend to like to think I can read people pretty well. Like, I focus on genuine. I don't focus on this is the front I'm gonna put up because I
Sure.
want people to perceive me a
Mm.
certain way. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know about that. Like, I can. There's certain situations like I just can read people and I can feel their vibe and go with it. So if I stay away from drama talk.
Mhm.
Like there's certain women that just put stuff out there. They're all about drama. So I've followed a couple women and then I consistently see their stuff and I'm like, I don't want this getting in my head. So I'll unfollow them. It's nothing against them. It's just what they have chosen to make their content all about. And I'm like, I can't see this every day on my. It's like exhausting almost. I'm like, what are we talking about today? Okay, nobody cares.
So me and my neighbor were actually talking about, and I won't mention the person's name, but there was a creator who was that both me and him were following, and he was talking about the idea of staying toxic. Now, some people might know who I'm talking about, but I'm not going to name the person. And all of his content is about men staying toxic, and he does it in a jokey way. And his bio is all about not taking TikTok seriously and all the rest of it. But I followed him for a little bit, and then I unfollowed him because I was like, look, I get that it's a joke, but it's still, you've got a big following, and you may inadvertently be teaching people that,
Yeah.
you may be sending an indirect message here that it's funny to be toxic, and it's really not. So again, I'm very selective now in the kind of people that I follow and what have you. And I'm very much kind of like an energy person. If I like the person's energy and their vibe, then yes, I'm going to gravitate towards them more, because
Yeah.
I like the kind of, I like, it's not necessarily the message, it's the energy that it's giving off. And I think
Yeah. Like that's how I found Kat. Like she just was supporting, like found my page and then she was like blowing me up with all this like kindness and positivity. I was like,
yeah,
I think I love this girl. And then I like DM'd her and it just started this awesome friendship. And it's like that's the type of people I gravitate to, is like people that are going to be genuine and like make the effort almost. And then I made the effort to reach out to her personally, not just through comments on TikTok. And that, like, it's just been awesome.
Me and Kat recently became friends, I think, in the last couple of months, and you know,
You guys are the same person. You're just like the male version, and she's the female version.
Well, so yeah, we actually spoke about it because we're both Pisces, and we were talking the other day.
Yeah.
But we're basically Pisces pals, and I was like, okay, we're Pisces pals. That's fine. But yeah, she's very, again, very uplifting, very optimistic, and I think that when it comes to whatever branch of social media, I'm not just talking about TikTok here, whatever branch of social media you're on, I think that for me, positivity and kindness will always outshine negativity. The problem, I think, and again, rounding off this kind of segment, it's so difficult sometimes because there is so much negativity out there, and negativity generates more attention. And I think if we're going to put content out, we need to shout as loudly about it as possible to try and inspire and uplift people, be that through supporting our friends, through other content creators, be it, supporting our followers, or just being selective about the messages and the energy that we're putting out there. Because I think the more we try and strive for positivity, the more positivity we are in turn going to receive in our own life through the connections that we make.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So
it's a good.
Yeah. So I guess my final question to you is, what do you see in terms of the future for you on TikTok? Because like I said, you've got quite a big following. Do you have plans to do anything further with the app?
I mean, I'm on the creator marketplace, so I've gotten a couple offers to do sponsored ads. I've done some of that over on Instagram. So I have a coffee company sending me something that actually reached out to Suzanne too. Mm-hmm. So I just got one for like a carpool karaoke mic. So I'm waiting to hear back from them, which is like right up my alley.
Perfect for you.
All right. So just gonna dabble with that and see, I don't like having viral videos because that's when the negativity comes in and makes you kind of second guess that. So I'm perfectly comfortable growing at that slow place, growing organically. I don't want to have that. Like I had that one video. I don't know if you saw it, but I had to take it down. It had like 2.4 million views. It was like the jellyfish, the blue jellyfish, and I was reacting, and I had like a low cut top on, and I was like, it was like a man of war, and it went like this, and I was like,
oh, I did, yes, I did see that. Did you take that down?
I took it down because I was like, this is insane. The stuff, like, it was too much. It got overwhelming, and I don't want to feel overwhelmed, So I privated it out, but it's crazy because I hashtagged my Mama AD hashtag. So now it has like 7.3 million views on the hashtag and I was like,
one video, probably. That's
yeah, but I get so nervous when stuff goes viral because I'm like feeling like I have to read every content or read every comment, respond and like, and I'm like, okay, just like I'll turn the comments off if it gets to a certain point because I'm just like, I'm choose not to read them because I don't have the time, or they're starting to become negative, and I'm like, I'm just gonna shut y'all down. Like that one I did about the women in the portal.
Oh yes, I remember that one.
Yes. The comments are still on in that, but I just haven't read any of them.
I think it's reading them.
My following is like 81% male.
Really?
Yeah. Which I have a lot of women that. Yeah, but it's majority men. And so I'm like, if I want to shoot something out there, it'll find its way to Creep Talk.
Oh, no. Well, I mean, this is why you've got good moderators, though.
That's why I have good moderators. Yeah, but I like no really goals. I'm just trying to have fun with it. I don't want to make it like a persistent thing I have to do. Because ultimately my focus is my family and my kids. And if it starts to take time away from that, then, if I don't have something to post, I just won't post.
Makes sense. All right,
Yeah.
listen, Ashley, this has been a fantastic, fantastic episode. Thank you very
Yeah.
much for joining me. I've had so much fun. I hope you have as well.
Yeah. Thanks
Um,
for having me.
it's been great to talk to you. Once again, guys, if you're not following Ashley on TikTok, please go and check out her content. Like I said, it's absolutely uplifting and, therapeutic for, if you are having a bad day and you need a laugh, it's definitely the page to go to. But thank you very much for joining me again. And guys, we'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks,
This has been another episode of Inspire You. Thank you.
guys.